Christian, are you in a season of trials? Are you in a situation where your heart is heavy, where you're confused, when you feel like, honestly, you can't keep going? Well, I'm really glad you got to this video, because today I'm going to talk about Paul, a missionary for Christ who faced a ton of persecution, yet he kept the faith. And in this video, we will be revealing how he did so. Let's get into this. 2 Timothy chapter 4, starting in verse 6 says, "For I am already being poured out as a drink offering, and the time of my departure has come." This is talking about Paul's death that was soon to come. "I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Henceforth there is laid up for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who have loved his appearing." Paul said that he had finished the race, he had kept the faith, he had fought the good fight. Life for Paul was by no means an easy road. Ever since his conversion on the Damascus Road, Paul had faced an insane amount of persecution. Not only was he obviously neglected by the Pharisees, but even fellow believers didn't trust him because of his history. He was persecuted because he simply preached the truth instead of giving in to, what the world wanted to hear. The fact is, Paul lived a very hard life by, our standards, and just normal life standards in general. It was not easy. However, he'd kept the faith. Was he perfect? No. He was just like the rest of us in that he was imperfect and that he had a sinful flesh. However, he chose to rely on God. He chose to trust God. There were times he wanted to go certain places and God simply just didn't let him go. And what did he do? He trusted God. We see in Romans chapter 7 that Paul had to fight against his flesh. Starting in Romans 7 verse 15, it says, "For I do not understand my own actions. For I do not do what I want, but I do the very thing that I hate. Now, if I do what I do want, I agree with the law, that is good. So now it is no longer I who do it, but sin that dwells within me. For I know that nothing good dwells in me, that is, in my flesh. For I have the desire to do what is right, but not the ability to carry it out. For I do not do the good I want, but the evil I do not want is what I keep on doing." Simply put, Paul struggled. There were times where Paul was like, man, I want to follow Christ. I want to be dedicated to him. I want to live my life for his glory, yet my flesh is trying to do the very opposite. When I want to trust God, my flesh wants to doubt God. When I want to follow God wholeheartedly, being content with what he's giving me, the circumstance he's put me in, my flesh is being discontent. It is being selfish. It is being impatient. And I think honestly, we can relate to that. I think sometimes we think of Paul as this amazing Christian that, man, I'm just not good enough. He had so much faith. He was so great, this and that. But the fact is, it wasn't that Paul was this super strong person. Yes, maybe he had some character traits that helped, but it was ultimately God's strength that brought him through his life. It was through God's strength that he was able to make such an impact, not because he was some amazing person. So here's the key. We must rely on God's strength. That must be our foundation in times of trials, in times of doubt, in times of confusion, pain, suffering, loss, etc. We must rely on God's strength. How do we do that? We must pray. We must listen to worship music. We must read the scriptures. We must meditate on biblical truths. We must have fellowship with other believers. These are all key essential elements. It's not like, okay, God's strength, I'm gonna tough it up and it's just gonna come. It's like, no, we have to set our mind. We have to spend time with God. Because really what happens is we focus so much on our inability and our insufficiency and how hard and terrible our circumstances are that we get sad, we get mad, we get frustrated. But when we turn our gaze to Christ, then we can have that joy, we can have that peace that passes all understanding. But we have to make a decision to look to God. Going back to 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 17, it says, "But the Lord stood by me and strengthened me, so that through me the message might be fully proclaimed, and all the Gentiles might hear it. So I was rescued from the lion's mouth. The Lord will rescue me from every evil deed and bring me safely into his heavenly kingdom. To him be the glory forever and ever. Amen." I hope this video was a blessing to you. If you want to see another video, click somewhere on the screen, and you guys have a great rest of your day.